Hello everyone, this is Asra Sultana, Assistant Professor in EEE Department, working in ISL Engineering College. So today we are going to see another session of Power System Operation and Control subject for EEE final year students. In today's class, we are going to see the derivation of transmission loss formula. So let us consider a total load current ID which is supplied by plant 1 only in a system consisting of two plants. Okay, we are having two plants here, 1 and 2. So we are assuming that there is a total load current ID which is supplied by plant 1 only. Now let the current in line P be IP1. We can define current distribution factor MP1 as IP1 by ID. Okay, IP is nothing but IP is current in line P and ID is the total load current, and MP1 is nothing but current distribution factor. Now similarly, if plant 2 alone is supplying the total load current, then we can define the current distribution factor MP2 as IP2 by ID. Okay, so first equation what we are seeing here, when only plant 1 is acting. Here we are seeing that only plant 2 is taking the total load current. Okay, so these MP1 and MP2 are nothing but current distribution factors. The voltage of current distribution factor will depend upon the impedance of the lines and their interconnection, and they are independent of the current ID. When both generators are supplying current into the network, when we apply the principle of superposition, current in line P can be expressed as IP. The current in line P, we are denoting it by IP, that will be equal to MP1 Ig1 plus MP2 Ig2. Now we are making two assumptions here. Let us see what is the first assumption. All load currents have the same phase angle with respect to a common reference. So what we are assuming that all load currents should have the same phase angle with respect to a common reference. Let us consider the load current at ith bus, that is IDI. IDI angle delta I minus phi I, and this IDI we are taking a mod IDI. Okay, that is magnitude of IDI we are taking. This is magnitude and this is angle. So IDI angle delta I minus phi I is equal to mod IDI angle theta I. So what is this delta I? Delta I is the phase angle of the bus voltage and phi I is the lagging phase angle of the load. So since delta I and phi I vary only through a narrow range at various buses, it is reasonable to assume that phi I is the same for all load currents at all times. Second assumption is that ratio x by r is same for all network branches. So from these two assumptions, it can be concluded that IP1 and ID have the same phase angle and IP2 and ID uh, same phase angle, and so IP2 and ID such that current distribution factors MP1 and MP2 are real rather than complex. So what we are concluding here, IP1 and ID have the same phase angle and so have IP2 and ID such that current distribution factors MP1 and MP2 are real, they are not complex. Now let this Ig1 equal to this Ig1 current equal to mod of Ig1 angle sigma 1 and Ig2 is mod of Ig2 angle sigma 2. Let us take this as equation 5. Now from this equation of IP, that is after applying the principle of superposition, we got an equation for IP. What was that equation? IP equal to MP1 Ig1 plus MP2 Ig2. So from this equation we can write IP square equal to MP1 mod Ig1 cos sigma 1 plus MP2 Ig2 cos sigma 2 square plus MP1 Ig1 sin sigma 1 plus MP2 Ig2 sin sigma 2 square. This is equation 6. So expanding and simplifying this above equation, we are going to get the value as IP square equal to MP1 square IG1 square plus MP2 square IG2 square plus 2 MP1 MP2 mod IG1 IG2 cos of sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Let us take this as equation 7. So here Ig1 equal to what? Pg1 by root 3 V1 cos phi 1 and Ig2 is Pg2 by root 3 V2 cos phi 2. Pg1 and Pg2 are the three-phase real power outputs of plant 1 and 2 at power factors cos phi 1 and cos phi 2 respectively. What are V1 and V2? V1 and V2 are the bus voltages at plants 1 and 2. If Rp is the resistance of branch P, the total transmission loss is given as PL equal to summation P 3 IP square Rp. So substituting for IP square from equation 7 and Ig1 and Ig2 from equation 8. Okay, these were the equation 7 and 8. So we are substituting IP square from equation 7 and Ig1 and Ig2 from equation 8. So this IP square, this equation, and Ig1 is this much and Ig2 is this much. Okay, then we are going to obtain PL value as Pg1 square by V1 square cos phi 1 square summation P MP1 square Rp plus 2 Pg1 Pg2 cos sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by mod V1 mod V2 cos phi 1 cos phi 2 summation P MP1 MP2 Rp plus Pg2 square by mod V2 square cos phi 2 square summation P MP2 square Rp. So this equation 9 we can recognize as PL is equal to Pg1 square B11 plus 2 Pg1 Pg2 B12 plus Pg2 square B22. So what are these B11, B12, B22? These are the BMN coefficients, and B11 is equal to from uh, this equation, above equation, what we can write B11. See here in this equation we are replacing these terms by B11. What are those terms? 1 by mod V1 square cos phi 1 square summation P MP1 square Rp, and what is B12? Cos sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by mod V1 V2 cos phi 1 cos phi 2 summation P MP1 MP2 Rp, and B22 is 1 by mod V2 square cos phi 2 square summation P MP2 square Rp. So these terms B11, B12 and B22 are called as loss coefficients or B coefficients. If voltages are line to line kilovolts with resistances in ohms, the units of B coefficients will be 1 by megawatt or megawatt inverse. Okay. So for Pg1 and Pg2 expressed in megawatt and PL will be also expressed in megawatt. This above result, whatever we got, can be extended to the general case of K plants with transmission loss expressed as PL equal to summation M equal to 1 to K, summation N equal to 1 to K, PGM, BMN, PGN, where BMN is equal to cos sigma M minus sigma N by mod VM, mod Vn, cos phi M, cos phi N, summation P, MPM, MPN, RP. So, along with the already assumed assumptions, we can include furthermore assumptions here. So, following assumptions, including those mentioned already, are necessary. B coefficients are to be treated as constants, as total load and load sharing between plants vary. So, what are those assumptions here now? All load currents maintain a constant ratio to the total current. Voltage magnitudes at all plants will remain constant. Okay, first one is what? Load currents maintain a constant ratio to the load current. Voltage magnitudes at all plants will remain constant. Ratio of reactive to real power, that is power factor at each plant remains same. Okay, and voltage phase angles at plant buses remains fixed. This is equivalent to assuming that plant currents maintain constant phase angle with respect to common reference. Since source power factors are assumed constants as per assumption 3 above. So what we are telling here, fourth assumption, that voltage phase angle at plant buses will remain fixed. So in spite of number of assumptions made, uh, so it is fortunate that treating B coefficients as constant yields reasonably accurate result when the coefficients are calculated for some average operating conditions. So what we are telling here, we are assuming some values, but still we are getting a accurate result by treating these B coefficients as constant. Major system changes will require recalculation of the coefficients. Losses as a function of plant outputs can be expressed by other methods, but the simplicity of loss equations is the chief advantage of B coefficients method. Accounting for transmission losses will result in considerable operating economy. Furthermore, this consideration is equally important in future system planning and in particular with regard to the location of plants and building of new transmission lines. Let us see one problem based on this topic. Figure below shows a system having two plants 1 and 2 connected to buses 1 and 2 respectively. There are two loads and a network of 4 branches. The reference bus with a voltage of 1.0 angle 0 per unit is shown on the diagram. The branch currents and impedances are, so these are the branch currents IA, IB, IC, ID. Okay, here in this diagram we can see this is IA, IB, IC, ID. Okay, IA value is given as 2 minus J 0.5 per unit. IB value is given as 1.6 minus J 0.4 per unit. IC is given as 1 minus J 0.25 per unit. ID is given as 3.6 minus J 0.9 per unit. Okay. Now impedances values are also given here. ZA, ZB, ZC, ZD. Okay. ZA is given as 0.015 plus J 0.06 per unit. ZB is given as 0.015 plus J 0.06 per unit. ZC is equal to 0.01 plus J 0.04 per unit. ZD equal to 0.01 plus J 0.04 per unit. Calculate the loss formula coefficients of the system in per unit and in reciprocal megawatts if the base is 100 MVA. Okay, so these are the currents and the impedances values. This is load 1 and load 2. As the load currents maintain a, let us see the solution of this question. As the load currents maintain a constant ratio to the total current, so ID by IC plus ID and IC by IC plus ID we are calculating first. So ID by IC plus ID equal to how much? ID value how much it is given? 3.6 minus J 0.9 divided by IC plus ID, that is 1 plus 3.6 is 4.6 and minus J 0.25 minus J 0.9. When you add these two values, we are going to get J 1 minus J 1.15. Okay, this rule already I have said you several times in the classes that addition subtraction should be done in rectangular form and multiplication and division should be done in polar form. So we have added here IC and ID. Okay, directly I have added and put here value. So this rectangular form of numerator and denominator can be converted into polar form and we can write the magnitudes here. So we got this ratio as 0.7826 and IC by IC plus ID equal to what? IC value is how much? 1 minus J 0.25 divided by IC plus ID 4.6 minus J 1.15. So this value I got as 0.2174. So MA1, MB1, MC1, MD1. MA1 is 1, MB1 is 0.2174. MC1 is 0.2174, MD1 is 0.7826. Now MA2 is 0, MB2 is 0, MC2 is 0.2174, MD2 is 0.7826. Bus voltages at plants are V1 and V2 equal to, V1 is 1.0, it is given in the question. So 1.0 plus 2 minus J 0.5 into 0.015 plus J 0.06, that is 1.066 angle 6.05 per unit, and V2 we got as 1.051 angle 4.9 per unit. Current phase angles at plants are I1 equal to IA and I2 equal to IB plus IC. So sigma 1 will be equal to tan inverse of minus 0.5 by 2, that is minus 14 degree, and sigma 2 is tan inverse of minus 0.65 by 2.6, that is minus 14 degree. Now we will calculate now cos of sigma 2 minus sigma 1, that is sigma 2 is minus 14 and sigma 1 is minus 14. So minus 14 plus 14 will give us 0. So cos 0 is 1. Now we will calculate the power factors of plants 1 and 2. So for plant 1, power factor is cos of 0.05 plus 14, that is 0.9393, and power factor for plant 2 is cos 4.9 plus 14, that is 0.946. Now let us calculate the loss coefficients B11, B22, B12. So B11 is equal to, so we got the equations here for B11, B12 and B22. Okay, that is 1 by mod V1 square cos phi 1 square summation MP1 square. Okay, so from these equations we are calculating the value of B11, 12 and 22. Okay, so substituting all the values given in the problem, B11 we calculate as 0.015 into 1 square plus 0.015 into 0.2174 square plus 0.01 into 0.2174 square plus 0.01 into 0.18 by square by 1.066 square into 0.9393 square. So we got the value as 0.0224 per unit. It is asked in the question to get the value in per megawatt, that is 10 per minus 2, you multiply it. Okay. So similarly for B22 and B12 also we are going to get the values as 0.01597 per unit and 0.00406 per unit. If it is in per megawatt, you multiply by 10 per minus 2. Thank you students. Thanks for watching the video. I hope everyone understood today's lecture. So we have finished the second unit in power system operation and control subject. So in what was the second unit? Economic operation of a power system. So what topics we have seen in this? We have seen the economic dispatch problem here. And then we have seen unit commitment problem. So these are the two problems associated with the economy of power system. Okay, so economic dispatch problem and unit commitment problem we have seen. So we have seen about input output curves. Okay, input output curve is nothing but cost of fuel in rupees per hour or dollar per hour. Okay, or BTU, million BTU per hour we have seen, versus output power in megawatt. We have seen the input output curves, incremental fuel cost curve, then optimal operation we have seen. Okay, optimal operation is nothing but we have to minimize the cost C, that is C equal to summation I is equal to 1 to k Ci with such that the summation I equal to 1 to k Pgi minus Pd equal to 0. Okay, then we have seen using this Lagrange function we are getting the condition for economic operation of the power plants. Then we have seen numericals based on these topics. Okay, then we have seen about the optimal generation scheduling, BMN coefficients we have seen. Last class we have seen BMN coefficients. And we have seen about the equal incremental cost criterion, neglecting losses, and with and without generator limits we have seen. And we have seen various numericals based on these topics. So numericals last class I have discussed, that is based on BMN coefficients also I discussed, and based on neglecting and including transmission losses also I have discussed the numericals. So you may expect a 10 marks problem from this unit. Okay students, thanks for watching the videos. I hope everyone is understanding the subject. If you have any doubts, you are always welcome to ask me any doubts. Thank you everyone.